I'm attorney Thomas Burton, and today's question is the following. What is the difference between an LLC and a C Corporation? This is an excellent question and one that I see come up when I'm working with potential business owners when choosing a choice of entity. So the key thing to remember is both an LLC and a C Corporation are entities that are set up at the state level, and they provide limited liability protection to the owner by separating the business assets and liabilities from the owner's personal assets. The differences lie in the ownership structure, governance, and taxes. LLCs are generally easier to set up and have fewer ongoing governance requirements, whereas a C Corporation generally takes more paperwork to set up, and then after setup requires maintaining the corporate formalities of a C Corporation, which often involves creating and adopting bylaws, electing a board of directors, issuing shares of stock, holding regular shareholder meetings, keeping meeting minutes, recording stock transfers, and issuing reports to shareholders. So, C Corporations are a great type of entity, and they've been around a long time, and that's why many large corporations choose the C Corporation. If you're looking to be a growth company and take on investors, many investors are going to appreciate the corporate formalities of a C Corporation and the familiarity of a C Corporation because they've been around a long time, and we have a lot of case law on C Corporation. However, there is a significant paperwork burden. So if you're not the type of person who's good at keeping up-to-date records and paperwork, a C Corporation may not be for you. Or if it is for you, you should consider hiring good legal and tax counsel from the beginning who can maintain the corporate books and records for you. Because with a C Corporation, if you don't maintain those corporate formalities strictly, you can risk what is called piercing the corporate veil, where someone could sue you and say they didn't really have a C Corporation, it was just sort of this fake shell corporation, and judge, we want to pierce the corporate veil because they never maintained any of these corporate formalities of a C Corporation to begin with. For instance, they never had shareholder meetings, there's no stock certificates, they mix personal funds with business funds. Lots of examples like this throughout the case law with trying to pierce the corporate veil. So the similarity is we form both entities at the state level. You either file articles of organization for an LLC or you file the articles of incorporation for the C Corporation. After that has to do with how you manage and maintain the business as you move forward. And for a C Corporation, you have shareholders, and for an LLC, you have members. For an LLC, I generally recommend you adopt a governing document called an operating agreement. But the great thing in Wisconsin is there is no requirement to issue shares of stock. There's much less corporate record keeping requirement. You should keep good corporate records, but it's much less onerous than for a C Corporation. And there is no requirement to hold an annual shareholder meeting or appoint a board of directors, things like that. So that's why in Wisconsin, at least in recent decades, the LLC has fast become the most common type of business entity filed every year. And that's because most small businesses now are choosing the LLC because of its ease of setup, its flexibility, and its relative ease of maintenance. With an LLC, you have to file a report once a year with the state of Wisconsin called your annual report to let them know you're still in business and operating. And it's a very reasonable $25 annual filing fee. So you need to evaluate when thinking about what type of business to set up. What am I going to do with this business? Am I going to operate it as a small business like a lawn care business, a beauty salon, a barber shop, a donut shop, an auto repair shop, things like that? Those are well suited to being an LLC. If you are considering a tech startup where you are creating an app or perhaps some piece of software, planning to hire a lot of employees and go public, like an initial public offering, you may want to consider a C corporation from the start because your main focus is going to be on raising money and getting investors. So these are just some of the things to consider. You can switch from one type of entity to the other, but often there's additional costs involved with doing that. So it's wise to think about what your goals are for the business and what type of business you're setting up before you begin. Great question, and thank you for asking. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.